Hello, my beautiful souls. I'm so excited for this video. It was a requested one and I absolutely love this topic. So if you've ever wondered why you feel emotions when someone else is happy or sad, like, you know, when you walk into a room and you can just like feel the energy of the room, or maybe like you're watching a show or something on TikTok or anything like that, and you start to cry and you feel these emotions because the other people are feeling the emotions and kind of like where that comes from. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So if you're new here, I'm Sarah and I created this channel to give you practical everyday ways that you can build yourself a more beautiful and loving and peaceful and joyful life. So if you like topics like this one, please don't forget to subscribe and like this video. So let's get into mirror neurons. I promise this is not going to be a weirdo like scientific like video. I don't speak that way. So we're going to talk about how mirror neurons connect with our own spirituality and how we move through life. I think that by the end of this video, you're going to be seeing yourself and other people in an entirely different light. And it's a really fun topic to explore in your everyday life. So what are mirror neurons? They were first discovered somewhere in the 1960s, and it was with a study on monkeys. When a monkey witnessed another monkey picking up a peanut, the exact same neurons in its brain fired off as the one that was actually picking up the peanut. So essentially the monkey's brain mirrored what happened to the monkey's brain that it was observing, hence the term mirror neurons. Humans also have these mirror neurons. Yeah, try saying that 5 times fast. Humans also have these mirror neurons, but they are much more sophisticated than a monkey's or other animals. So these brain cells activate when we observe someone else's experiences, actions, emotions, basically what they're doing. That's why sometimes when you see someone crying, for example, you might feel some of that sadness, and people have a different amount of mirror neurons, like from person to person. So people that are empaths like myself, they feel it to a very extreme way, whereas like narcissists have a very little amount of the mirror neurons. So they're not exactly the same for everyone. And that's why so many people are more emotional or seem to be more emotional than others. It's because of these mirror neurons that we have in our body. So these neurons are basically the core of how we connect, not only with other people, but with our animals and our pets, and basically everything around us. So how do these mirror neurons tie into spirituality, and how do they help us grow? The biggest thing is they allow us to connect. Think about these 2 scenes in your mind. Think about walking into a spiritual retreat where you see 100 people sitting around and they are in their silence meditating. And then picture yourself walking into a very crowded and chaotic bar, right? 2 very different experiences, and you're gonna feel differently when you walk into one room or the other. When we are observing something, our brains mimic that. So if we're walking into a spiritual retreat and we're observing all this meditation going on, we are also going to feel at peace and light and joyful. But sometimes when we walk into the crowded bar, we might feel a little anxious or high energy or chaotic. And that's why a lot of times people will say you are who you surround yourself with. When you are around high vibrational people that are filled with light and positivity and happiness, you will tend to feel that way too. But when you surround yourself with people that are very woe is me and negative all the time and in their victim mentality, you will start to mirror that as well. And that's why when you are around people who are that more of that more like high vibrational frequency, those interactions can feel very transformative. Like there's plenty of, there are like certain people in my life where if I'm around them, I leave that interaction feeling energized and empowered and all of these, you know, amazing things. And if you want to learn a little more in depth of who those people are in your own life, definitely check out this video here, because I go really into depth of how to figure out who those people are in your life. Secondly, mirror neurons are the core of our compassion. And compassion, in my opinion, is what really brings humanity together and is what we really need to evolve and to bring us from that 3D into the 5D. There's the spiritual law of, you know, we are all one, and it is because of the mirror neurons. So when you hear me or others talk about the collective consciousness, it's because it is the collective of the entire world, of all of humanity, and where our mirror neurons are at. So when we talk about an individual basis and raising your own vibration and being more positive when we feel like it's not going to do anything, it does, because it's a ripple effect. So if, you know, you've got a few million people planted throughout the planet that are of these very high vibrational frequencies, it becomes mirrored and mirrored and mirrored. And that's kind of what people are talking about when they're talking about raising the collective vibration and frequency. When you see someone struggling, I've mentioned many times on this channel that I'm very compassionate towards the homeless. I cry all the time when I see them, and I do whatever I can to help, whether it's giving them money or an ear to listen to or food or whatever it may be. A lot of times our mirror neurons mirror that person's pain, and that can inspire us to act with more kindness and compassion and support. And the third big way that these can tie into spirituality is manifestation. I mean, that is a really, really big one. When you hear the phrase act as if, or fake it until you make it, is kind of like the more common, like everyday one. This is kind of the way it works within the brain. When you imagine yourself achieving your goals, or getting the dream body, or being in your dream relationship, or whatever that imaginative or visualization or meditation is, your brain activates it as if it's already happening. And so this creates the feelings and the energy and the alignment that is needed to attract those things into your life. It's like our brain is built with this spiritual manifestation hack. We just have to understand what it is and how we can best use it to improve our own life and the lives around us. So those are a lot of positive things. Now, mirror neurons work no matter what. So there are also ways that they can draw us back. And if you are an empath or a highly sensitive person like myself, you will already know exactly what I'm talking about. The only way they can really hold us back is if we're not mindful about them, right? So they can trap us in negative energy. If you are constantly surrounded by people who are angry or stressed or negative or whatever the emotion is, your mirror neurons can absorb and mirror those emotions even though they're not technically your own. And this is why protecting your energy and setting your boundaries is so vital and so important, not only for your well-being, but for your growth and for you to be able to evolve to be happy and loving and peaceful and all those things. They can also make us overly reactive because it's almost like a compound, right? So if you're feeling down, and if you are, check out this video right here I just released that is all about dealing with those negative emotions and when you feel like you can't crawl out. But when you're already feeling that way, let's say, And then you're also around other people that are like that. You're taking that on, so it is compounding what you're already feeling. And so it's like, you might feel like a level 5 sadness, but then you're with someone else that feels like a level 5, and then boom, you've already like doubled your sadness or your anger, or, you know, whatever it is. It can also cause self-doubt, I think would be the right word. And by this I mean, let's look at social media, for example. If you see someone posting and they are living like their best life, right? Or at least that's what you think, that's what their highlight reel is, that's what they're putting out to the world. And you start to feel the emotions that they're feeling. Maybe they're on like a nice vacation, or, you know, whatever it is. But then you come out of that post and you see that stark difference of like, whoa, I'm not actually experiencing that. I'm feeling this. It puts that gap. It makes it feel like there's a bigger gap. And so you really have to be mindful and careful about the feelings that you're feeling when you are absorbing other people's content. So how do we use the power of mirror neurons to propel us and to expand our spiritual growth and our everyday lives? One, you want to be mindful of excuse me, your environment. Our mirror neurons, our brains in that aspect, are a sponge, right? So we are soaking up the energies, we are soaking up the emotions of everything and everyone around us. So surround yourself with uplifting people, be mindful of the content that you are consuming and how it's making you feel, and be in peaceful environments whenever you possibly can. 2, and this one takes some time, but it's worth it to do. And that is, you know, practicing your own self-awareness and understanding when your emotions are yours and when they are someone else's. An example of this would be, you know, maybe you're with your family or something or whatever, and your mom is annoyed with your dad, and all of a sudden you find yourself feeling annoyed with your dad. But you have to like sit there and ask yourself, like, is that my own emotions that I am experiencing? And if it is, that's fine. But if it's not, know how to separate those of the emotions of others and your actual emotions. And trust me, like, this one, I'm still working on. I've gotten so much better at it. But you can't change anything in your life unless you have the self-awareness first. So that was a big game changer for me and still continues to be. And I will tell you that I've been working on it for a few years now. My life is so much more peaceful now that I can, for the most part, I'm not perfect, but when I can really differentiate my own feelings versus someone else's. And number 3, and that is cultivating your own compassion, but without absorbing the pain. So this one's a little tricky, but you kind of have to do the last one first before you kind of dive into this. Having empathy is beautiful and it's a really powerful tool, but it is not your responsibility to carry the weight of the world. This is something I am struggling with now. In fact, I have a lot going on in my own personal life, and some of it doesn't even have to do with my own life, but like people I care about's lives and their well-being. And I tend to take on the stress of that. And so it's finding the balance between your compassion and your empathy and not absorbing it into your body. It's definitely an intense practice, and it's something that I have not mastered yet. So I can definitely do a full video on that at some point. I just don't feel like I'm enough on the other side of it yet to really speak on it. So I will do one eventually, but that's something I'm still working on. So the next one I want to talk about is using visualization. Why do I always have such a hard time saying that word? Visualization. Using visualization and affirmations. They are probably the most powerful tools that I have used that are free and easy, and you can do it anywhere at any time. Your brain cannot distinguish what is real and what is not. So if you're visualizing, you get my point. I can't. Be your life the way that you really like desire it to be. And that's what they talk about when putting yourself in the state. That's what Neville Goddard and all these teachers are talking about, putting yourself in the state as if you already have it. Because your brain doesn't know that I'm sitting with snow on the ground if I am so intensely I feel like I need to like Google another word. If I'm imagining myself so intensely that I'm at the beach, my brain will think I'm at the beach and not in I'm sorry guys. If I'm not in 20-degree weather, now I like lost my train of thought. The brain doesn't know the difference. If I'm imagining, we're gonna use that word. If I'm imagining that I'm at the beach instead of in 20-degree weather, my brain is gonna think I'm at the beach if I'm doing it intensely and correctly. So that's how you can use these mirror neurons to your advantage by affirming and imagining. Mirror neurons don't just connect people, but they connect us to everything. Plants, animals, insects, everything has energy. You know, they are part of the larger universal truth. And they show us that we are just very deeply, deeply connected. Your thoughts and your emotions and your energy don't just affect you. They affect everyone around you. They ripple, they ripple out to the collective consciousness and influence all of it. And that's why practices like imagining and meditation and affirmations and all of these things truly are so powerful, because not only does it affect you deeply, but because of the ripple effect. Just imagine if everyone on this planet was doing those things. It would be a whole different world. And that's what people are talking about with the 5D. And if you want to learn a little more about the new earth and moving from 3D consciousness into 5D, check out this video right here. It's a very basic level understanding of how we can actually realistically move into a world where we are all feeling positive and peaceful and joyful. The world is full of noise and chaos and distractions. But the good news is you do have the power to choose what you are mirroring and what you are putting out. You are so much more powerful than you realize. I'm more powerful than I realize, even with doing all of this work the last 5 years. Trust in the process. Know that this is not just spirituality. If it feels a little woo-woo for you, that this is science. It is both. They are so intertwined, spirituality and science. And science is catching up to spirituality, which is really, really exciting. So if you want to look into it more, you can read papers and books and documents in a scientific way. If the spirituality stuff is a little too out there for you, you can grasp it in that way as well. So I hope you found this video valuable and exciting and informative. And if you want to learn more about mirror neurons, at the end of this video, I'll post another video I did on it a few years ago. And, we have the power. We have the power to change our own lives and to change those around us just by doing these things, and recognizing them and having the self-awareness. So I love you guys so much. Do not forget to like and subscribe so we can hang out again next week. And don't forget, be limitlessly yourself.